The smell of smoke clung to the wind like a warning. It crept through the tall pines, past the rusted mailboxes and shuttered gas stations, until it curled around the charred remains of the only home worth saving in Dry Creek. Sheriff Paul Huxley stood with his thumbs hooked on his belt, staring at the smouldering ruin. His boots crunched glass as he stepped forward, looking for signs of a body, though he prayed he wouldn't find one. Behind him, the 3 fire trucks were gone. The crew had done what they could, but it was too late. The blaze had been intentional. Accelerant in the walls, trails of gasoline from the mailbox to the back window. This wasn't a fire. This was a message, and it had been sent to the wrong woman. Her name was Sergeant Nyla Carter. She moved to Dry Creek 8 months ago, quietly buying the old Lawson place with cash and fixing it up herself. Most in town didn't know much about her. She kept to herself, didn't go to church, didn't drink, wore worn boots, and always drove her matte black pickup into town just before sunset. Some called her stuck up. Others called her dangerous. Only a few knew the truth, and none of them were talking. The gang called themselves the Black Vultures, a pack of rural cowards wrapped in Confederate flags and meth paranoia. Led by Tucker Ray Simmons, a third-generation bigot with a neck tattoo of a snake eating a rose, they prided themselves on cleansing towns like Dry Creek. They'd already chased out 2 immigrant families with slashed tires and bricks through windows. But Nyla, she didn't flinch when they drove past her place, yelling slurs and revving their engines. Tucker didn't like that. A woman like her, black, alone, unbothered, insulted his whole identity. So last night, fueled by moonshine and fear, they torched her house. They thought she was inside. They thought they'd win. But Nyla Carter wasn't home. She was 70 miles away, training with a private military contractor at a remote site. She returned the next morning, stepping out of her truck into the still smoking wreckage of everything she'd rebuilt. She didn't cry, she didn't scream. She just stared at what was left. A melted photo frame, a scorched metal case, her father's old harmonica, blackened but intact. Then she walked back to her truck, opened the locked toolbox under the bed, and changed. 10 years ago, Nyla was the tip of the spear, Delta Force, the Army's elite counter-terrorism unit. She ran black ops in countries the Pentagon doesn't admit exist. She disarmed bombs, rescued hostages, and once killed a warlord with nothing but a pen and shoelace. She left after her last mission went sideways in Kandahar. Burned, bruised, and tired of watching good people die, she disappeared into civilian life. But the warrior never really left her. Now, the beast was awake again, and it was hungry. Nyla's first stop was Jace McMillan, the town mechanic. He used to be her spotter back in Syria. He left after a bullet tore through his calf and took most of his humor with it. But he owed Nyla his life, and when she walked into his garage that afternoon, eyes like frozen steel, he didn't ask why, just handed her the keys to his custom-modified Jeep and a duffel bag full of old favors. "You want backup?" he asked. She zipped the bag shut. "No, I want names." In the woods behind Tucker Ray Simmons' barn, 4 of the vultures were drinking and laughing, bragging about the fire. "Bet that uppity bee ran out screaming," one snorted. "Probably burned her weave clean off." They didn't hear her coming, not until the last one turned around and saw Nyla standing there, dressed in tactical black, face streaked with charcoal, holding a suppressed pistol like it was part of her body. "I didn't run," she said calmly, and then, one by one, they dropped. She didn't kill them. She could have, but death was too quick. She left them zip-tied to trees, stripped of their weapons and dignity with "I burn homes" carved into their shirts. Tucker heard about it 2 hours later. One of his boys, bloody and limping, had chewed through the zip tie and made it back to town. "She's coming," he gasped. Tucker laughed it off at first, called it a bluff, but when he got to his cabin that night and found the words Delta Force Never Forget spray-painted across his truck hood, he started to sweat. Meanwhile, Sheriff Huxley was piecing things together. He'd served in the Marines, and he recognized military-grade strategy when he saw it. The scene at the barn wasn't vandalism. It was a message. Tactical, lethal without being deadly. He drove straight to Nyla's burned-down house, hoping to find her before something worse happened. She was already gone, but on the side of the ruins, carved into the blackened wood, were 2 words: "Not done." By nightfall, only Tucker and 2 of his crew were still hiding out in a safe house near the old sawmill, armed to the teeth, jumpy, waiting. She's just a woman, one of them shouted, sweating. She's not going to take all of us. They heard something outside. A low, metallic click, then darkness. All the power was cut. Gunshots erupted into the night, wild and panicked. But Nyla wasn't outside. She was already inside. One by one, like shadows swallowing light, she took them down. Smoke grenades filled the cabin, flashbangs, and then her voice, calm and echoing through the chaos. You burned my home. Tucker coughed, crawling on the floor, eyes blind from the flash. Oh, I didn't know who you were. You didn't have to. Then she stepped out of the smoke, eyes locked, boots heavy, and pointed her weapon at him. You thought I was alone. Tucker trembled. Please. She knelt beside him, whispering just loud enough. I trained for men like you. I survived war zones with less fear than what I see in your face right now. Then she stood up, left him alive. Justice would come. When the police arrived, they found Tucker and his crew zip-tied to chairs, weapons dismantled, recordings of their racist plans played on loop across every TV in the cabin. Pinned to the wall behind them, a scorched Delta Force patch and a note. I protect this town now. 1 week later, Dry Creek had changed. Nyla bought a new house, smaller, quieter. The mayor offered her a medal. She refused. The sheriff tried to thank her. She nodded once. She wasn't looking for praise. She just wanted peace. And people finally understood. You don't bring hate to a warrior's doorstep, especially not when she built that doorstep herself.